Hi, my name is Craig, and today I'm going to show you how to patch a floating floor in an old Baltimore row house. So we're going to start off with this condition. Sorry, too much light. Where the floating floor, because the house is old and settling, has developed some gaps. And the floating floor is generally not attached to the subfloor. What we're going to get to is that, which is admittedly not perfect, but it's better than it was. It's better than the other part looks. So here's the finished product. There's the problem we're solving. So the basic strategy here is simple. We're going to cut out 2 out of the 3 tongues. This is basically a tongue and groove system. I'm going to cut a patch to the exact size and put it in place. You can leave one of the tongues in, and that'll help it stay put once you get it there. So you'll slide it in kind of that way. So all we're really doing here, we're going to slice these pieces off. Now this is relatively easy stuff. So this is on a floor that I bought from Ikea. It's a bamboo veneer. There's a lot of flooring similar to this out there. So this in here is kind of a thick cardboardy MDF type material that can just be basically whittled off. The only real trick to this part, it's like really tight cardboard. But the only thing you want to be careful of here is to make sure that when you're done, it's angled in. Because you're going to make it a really tight tolerance here. And if there's a lip inside of here where you didn't cut enough of this material off, it'll make it look all wrong. This rubber stuff, though, is pretty tough. And so you really got to muscle it in there. Similarly, you want to come in kind of in at an angle so that the top is the narrowest part, and it's a little bit wider at the outside. And I've not found a better way than to just kind of muscle it. And it's a little bit wider at the outside. And I've not found a better way than to just kind of muscle it. This is where a stiffer blade would be better, because this wiggles back and forth. Whereas the pocket knives ones are generally really firmly mounted in there. But it'll work. You just kind of stick the pointy in, and go little bit by little bit. The reason this is not the ideal tool is that the button to release the blade is on top, and when I need to press down to get my hand at a weird angle to avoid pressing down on the button. I need that. The reason this is not the ideal tool is that the button to release the blade is on top, and when I need to press down to get my hand at a weird angle to avoid pressing down on the button. Because you're kind of cutting blind, I like to kind of go over and over again until it starts to loosen like that, like a loose tooth. That's where this comes in handy. You grab it, pull at it, yank that sucker out. You want to go in and look very carefully in here. Make sure that you don't have any bits of material hanging out that are going to interfere with your patch. And a nice clean line here. And you clean all this stuff out, and we'll head to the saw. Because it's such a small gap, and I want to be very precise, I'm not even going to use the clip at the end. I'm going to measure it using only the marks. Once I get a good solid measurement, I'm going to write it down because I don't trust myself to remember it. And we'll go under the saw and make a cut. So when you're buying a laminate flooring like this, I recommend you keep some of these pieces for this exact reason. But use the same measuring tape to mark your piece as you use to make your measurement. And know whether or not you're leaving your line or taking your line. By which I mean you're going to draw a line here at the length you want. And when you're measuring, you want to think about, well, when you're marking it really, you want to think about, is your saw going to take the mark, or is it going to be on one side or the other of the mark? If you're going to leave the line, that means that the line is going to be intact on the finished piece. If you're going to take the line, that means that your saw is going to eat your mark. So I have it marked. I'm not sure how well the camera is going to be able to get this angle, but I'm going to lower it right down. And I am right behind the camera, lining it up as closely as I can, so that it sits right, the blade sits right where that mark is. And then being very careful not to slice any of my fingers off. And making sure that the whole piece is against this backrest. I'll go ahead and make the cut. Never feel shy about checking again, because you can't cut more wood onto a piece. Alright, here we go. Actually, I don't like how close my hand is to this, so I'm going to adjust my grip and hold it from this side. Because I changed my grip, I'm going to look one more time to make sure I'm still lined up, and here we go. And there we go. I like to use a hammer with some soft sides, a rubber tip. You can use a big old rubber mallet, or this is fine too. So now I'm just going to slip it in, notching. Clean it out a little first. Okay, just clean the fluid out a little bit. Slip it right in there. It's going to notch onto the one piece of tongue material that I left in place. And usually just, the force you can put with your hand is enough. Tap it in place. Okay. Pretty good. Got a little bit of a gap, but I think I'm going to call it good enough. And the previous ones I did, I went ahead and added some small finishing nails, but I'm going to instead wait until I have a brad nailer handy to pin that in place. That's going to stop it from wobbling and going to hopefully keep the floor from moving any further. But that's it for today. So there's my patch. If you back up, it's not perfect. You can tell there's a patch, but it's much better than it was.